So I know it's early, so I wanted to come up on here and I wanted to report on a few things. So I'm starting this new series called Rise and Shine with Lacee Jeter. So on this series is going to be me reporting on different news stories, on different celebrity gossip, current events. I'm going to be doing all of that. I'm making sure the camera is on, y'all. I'm gonna be doing all of that in the mornings before I check into my 9 to 5. So I got about 20 minutes, right? But I wanted to report on the story that's retaining to Travis Kelsey's I was about to say ex-wife, Travis Kelsey's ex-girlfriend, Kayla Nicole. She's gorgeous. All right. And I was just saying this on my TikTok. She gets so much just hate for no reason. And I feel like if she was a white woman, she would not get that same amount of hate. But because she's a black woman, people like to come for her a lot, you know. And I'm pulling up a picture of Miss Kayla here. But yeah, so she went to a Chris Brown concert, by the way. um she went to a Chris Brown concert, right? And you know how Chris Brown loves to bring his girls and do his little lap dance and all in his show and everything. So that's what he did. So he brought Kayla up, right? And let me tell you, this girl killed it. This girl killed it. And Kayla's actually a really good dancer. She's a very talented dancer. Like I've seen multiple clips of her doing her thing. I think she did a dance, kind of commending Sierra. And so she's very talented. But most people just see her as Travis Kelsey's ex-girlfriend because they tend to do that with the exes of athletes, right? So she went on stage, she commanded that stage with Chris Brown, man. And there are so many mixed emotions coming from people. There were so many people who loved it, but there was also a lot of people who did not like it. They were like, she's giving herself away. She doesn't respect herself. You had black men who were just like trying to say, Travis Kelsey dodged a bullet and all this. And you had even some black women who were like, well, she should have respected herself. Chris Brown is a well-known colorist, right? If y'all don't know what a colorist is, it's somebody who discriminates against somebody based on their skin tone. Most of the time, if they're darker, they discriminate on darker skinned people, right? And so Chris Brown is known for being into lighter skinned girls or women outside of his race, right? And so there's been a lot of stories from women who are darker skinned or black women saying they weren't allowed to go into his VIP. He was not allowed to go backstage with him because they were darker skinned, right? And so this lap dance for performance really did stir a lot of controversy. You had so many girls on social media, saying, color, Chris Brown is a colorist. Sorry, I cannot get my words together this morning. Chris Brown is a colorist. He never really liked dark skinned girls. He never really liked brown skinned girls. And just really just like coming for him, which I understand because me being a brown skinned girly myself, I've experienced colorism multiple times in my life, and I've actually talked about colorism multiple times on different platforms. I've written essays about it. So colorism is one of those topics I'm very passionate about, right? I don't think anybody should be discriminated against based on their skin tone. But the girls were really like, he didn't deserve that. He didn't deserve to get that lap dance from Kayla, blah, 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 blah. Right? People calling Kayla out saying, she's not any special, blah, 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 which, I really have empathy for Kayla because I would be exhausted with all the controversy, with all the backlash she gets just for being Travis Kelsey's ex-girlfriend. It has to be exhausting. It literally has to be exhausting. So I just really commend to her. And, I support her. I have empathy for her. But she actually went, I think it was her Twitter or one of her social medias. I think it was Twitter or Instagram. And this is what she said about her performance with Chris Brown. Well, that was fun. had to really do it for the teenage me blasting CB, which is Chris Brown, in her bedroom. For the mini me who saw him at one of her first concerts. For the woman who sometimes feels like she has to be a monolith instead of multi layered. I did it for the smart girls, the cool girls, the sexy girls, the fun girls, for all of us who are all of those things at once. And I overly did it for my brown girls. Thank you. Thank you. So that's what Kayla Nicole had to say about her performance and with her little lap dance with Chris Brown. That's what she had to say about it. And like I said, me being a brown skinned girl myself, I have empathy for her. But some of the black girls did not like that. Black girls were like, you don't need to kiss his butt. You don't need to be doing any of that. He never really likes brown skinned girls, black girls like that anyway, you know. And so, Kayla has had mixed like reactions from people, right? But guess what? Chris Brown actually went on social media. I think it was in his story or in a post. He said, you can get me at that colorism rage bait. That's what he said. He said he didn't want to deal with colorism rage bait. Y'all are just, talking, blah, blah, blah. And actually, Chris Brown ended up I think, deactivating his social media. He's like, I need to take a social media break, right? And so it really goes to show those comments were pretty heavy. And then you had girls also, I think on TikTok or girls on social media, recording their stories saying how they were rejected from, being able to go backstage with Chris Brown because they were a darker skinned woman. And like I said, me being a brown skinned girly myself, I have empathy. I understand, right? It's not fair for the girls to not have, equal chances, or the girls to not be seen as attractive, or the girls to not be treated fairly or equally just because they have darker skin. It's unfair. And the thing is, it be our own people doing this mess. That's the thing that's the most sad about this situation. So, how do y'all feel about this? Right? How do y'all feel about this story? Do you like the fact that Kayla got up on stage and kind of did her performance? I mean, she blew it away, girl. I mean, she ate the girls up. Like, she ate the girls up. She did not come to play, child. Right? And she did good. And Kayla, she's beautiful, stunning, right? And I there's that part of me, I'm like, I kind of support her, but then there's that other part of me, I'm like, you're right. The girls are kind of right. Why are we supporting these colorist, racist artists? Why do we continue to give them our money? Why do we continue to allow them to continue doing what they've been doing over and over again? Right? So now, what do y'all think? Do you think that Kayla shouldn't have done that? You thought it was disrespecting herself? Do you feel like she was being a pick me for colorist black men? She was being too much a pick me. She wanted him to like her too much. She shouldn't have done it. She should have rejected it. She should never went. A lot of people saying she should never went to the concert. Like I said, my personal opinion about Chris Brown, I'm neutral about him. I don't support the things that he has done in the past. I don't support the fact that Chris Brown has beat women or had a past or track record of being abusive. I don't like that, right? But then, there's a part of me, I do like some of his songs, right? Am I a hardcore Chris Brown fan? Absolutely not. I'm not. I think he's talented. I think he can dance. I think he can sing. He's been around for actually a long time. He's been around for a long time, right? So, I think also this is a lesson also for some artists as well, like, specifically black male artists. Be careful how you treat your fan base. Be careful how you treat black women, because if you come at black women a certain way and you're disrespectful, you're colorist, you're racist, it's going to hurt your career. It's going to hurt your reputation. And unfortunately, he has done things in the past that has just hurt his reputation, right? He has. Like, if it's with the DV with Rihanna, if it's with, his past exes saying like he's been abusive, if it's emotionally, if it's him not allowing darker skinned girls in his sections or come on his party bus or whatever things they be doing, right? We need to be inclusive. I think it's very important for artists to have inclusivity, right? Because even if personally you don't like a certain group of people, it's going to hurt your sales, right? Because it's going, like, a whole group of women you could be having supporting you, a lot of those women are no longer supporting you no more because you have decided to make irrational decisions. You have not healed your trauma when it comes to colorism and being a black man. Your internalized self-hatred, right? As a black man, right? And so we just got to be careful, like, even in general, like, people outside the black community, people of other races, in their younger years they might have like said very racist things on social media. You know what I'm saying? They might have said very racist things, when they were a child, when they were a teenager, and that stuff comes back to bite them, right? Because people dig up their old tweets and their old statuses and be like, this person is racist, and that could hurt your career. Even with college students, like, you could, sabotage getting a scholarship or getting accepted into a university because you say something racist or very colorist, right? It holds you back from your success. So one thing I've learned about these people who struggle with racism and colorism, a lot of the time, this stuff comes back to bite them. A lot of the time, their actions bite them, right? I believe in karma. I believe we reap what we sow. So if you're putting out that negative energy out there, then you're going to get that back, right? It's going to come back to you, right? So you want to always be kind. You want to always be uplifting, right? You want to always, be your best self. Put your best self out there. Be careful what you put out there because, those things can really hurt you, right? So that's all I gotta say, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed this little segment. I'm gonna be coming live very, very often. I'm gonna try my best to go live in the mornings because I tend to do better in the morning. Like I said, Rise and Shine with Lacee Jeter is what this segment is called. So yes, y'all, I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. If you guys enjoyed this content, definitely follow me on Facebook, or you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Lacee Aurielle, because I'm going live on all my platforms right now, right? And like I said, support your girl. I always appreciate it when people support me, and then when people want to be active with my content. So yes, but I wish y'all a wonderful rest of your morning, and I'll